Hello, adventurers. I am Dungeon Master Roy with Dark Alchemy, and I'm joined by my fellow Dark Alchemist, DM Evanson.
How we doing?
We're waiting for the dead professor to join us a little bit, Scott. And tonight we're going to talk about TTRPG in a castle. Right? I had the chance to run Orient Express, a Call of Cthulhu campaign in a castle. Dave, what'd you get to run?
Curse of Strahd.
Curse of Strahd, and I believe that Scott ran the Tyranny of Dragons. This is the website for TTRPG in a castle. So this is in Pennsylvania. We have a real castle we get to play in. We had 18 tables this year. The next event is going to be October, but it's sold out. And after that, we're going to have in the Carnwood Estate, which is a manor house next door. It's going to be January 8th to 10th. And January 22nd, 24th, tickets still available for the Carnwood Estate, more of a manor house. The main castle is not available in winter. But let's jump right into what you thought of the location in Pennsylvania. We can see a picture here of the manor house, and in a minute we'll pull up a castle picture, a small one here. Dave, what did you think of the castle setting to run a game in?
Oh, it's awesome. It's immersive. It's beauty. It's stained glass windows, the historic nature, it's a museum, so there's stuff from 1100 AD to medieval France, to stuff from Asia. You can get lost in there for hours just looking at stuff, and they have little plackets of information. It's awesome. The room I was in was the chapel. I believe that this was a private residence at one point, built in 1928, 1929-ish. And
Yes.
they had all these beautiful rooms set up. I think in the late 70s, the last family member donated it to the school / it became a museum. And it is just breathtaking. This particular photo right here, that's all mosaic tile, little, eighth inch by eighth inch or quarter inch by quarter inch tile put together to make that beautiful design.
Yes.
That is our group photo. That is all the keepers and dungeon masters and game masters before the fun of the weekend start. It was a unique experience, one I won't forget. And I'm happy that I got invited back, and I'll be there in October running Curse of Strahd as well.
I believe I will be back in October running Curse of Strahd. I had a chance to run horror on the Orient Express, a Call of Cthulhu adventure. It's my third time running that adventure, so I have it down, I believe, fairly well. I think my biggest challenge, and the challenge I always see, is timing. How did you handle the time crunch? 12 hours Friday, 12 hours Saturday, 4 to 6 hours on Sunday, depending on when people had to leave.
Yeah.
So tell me about what you thought about that, Dave.
Luckily, I was there the year before. They invited me to be as a backup, so I kind of had a good understanding of the time flow and when the lunch breaks are and the dinner breaks. So I was able to keep that in mind when planning, and I kind of understood how long people typically break.
Yes.
And so that helped a lot. And it's a big campaign to try to cut down for a weekend and still make it feel epic and make everyone shine in their moments. But luckily, I've run this campaign several times, so I kind of knew all the NPCs and all the story beats and what was encounters I could cut out and what I could, highlight. So that was a big advantage, where if I had to run something else, I would have to do a lot more homework. But I mapped it out pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Day one, hit these points, and day two, and so on and whatnot. And obviously, last day, you want to be at Castle Ravenloft.
Yes.
And at the first day, they kind of moved through things kind of quickly. I got a little concerned. They got into my day two content pretty by the nighttime-ish.
Oh, really?
But they were in Vallaki, and for those who know, there's a lot to do in there. And to quote one of the keepers, Ashley May, who ran Cthulhu there, Mansion of Madness, she perfectly worded, you throw spaghetti at a wall, and it's the player's job to pull the spaghetti out and unwind it and see what they pull on and what they don't like and do like, and then go from there. Because you can't just be like, no, I'm doing this regardless of what the players are liking or not. So I kind of left that open, and there's enough content that I go, okay, they're really leading into this. I'll go that route instead. And luckily, because I know the content, I was able to shift and highlight those particular areas. But it ran pitch perfect in my table.
Awesome. Awesome. That
It
sounds good.
wrapped up perfectly on Saturday night, perfect for the Sunday morning castle exploration. And I got to say, I was a little nervous leading up to it, because you never know. A bunch of people I've never met, don't really know how they are at the table. You talk on Discord, but you don't really get a good feel. I did have a session 0, and after that, I felt much better.
Okay.
But once the day started, I was fine. I was like, okay, I'm just felt like running it for my friends and so on. Everyone was great RPing. They all knew combat. They knew the other characters well. And I got nothing but good results and good praises from the players, which is always encouraging because you always have a little self-doubt or imposter syndrome, as they say.
Yeah, the imposter syndrome. You don't feel like you should be playing in the castle, but you have a ton of experience, Dave, and you've been running games for years, like myself. So I don't think it was that much of a stretch for you. But I think the time crunch is always the most interesting thing. A shout out to Two Reasonable Guys. That's my buddy Glenn. He's going to be joining us for Shadowrun, and he runs Star Trek, and there's lots of cool other nerd stuff like us. Matt is saying that the chapel's newly open room, I think, for TTRPG. Very cool space to play in. Matthew.
Beautiful room.
Yeah, that is an awesome space. TTRPG is run by Chris and Evan, and they have this event where they run us in a castle. You sign up, you get a hotel. You could not get the hotel if you want to drive, but basically for the cost, and the cost is listed on their website, you get the hotel. You get a nice breakfast, which is a hotel breakfast, and then they cater lunch and dinner with a local catering company, which is good. We had some Mexican food tonight. We had some chicken breast. We had some pasta. They had basically salads. They have gluten-free options, of course. They have some mead. They have some wine. They have plenty of snacks, energy drinks, coffee, donuts. They really spend a lot of money on the food, I think, and it's really well done. And then the last day we had a pizza party because Sunday basically everybody's leaving. You're kind of wrapping up. You want to get those last games in. The pizza was excellent this year. I really enjoyed it. This is a list here. Let's just go over this list. You did run Curse of Strahd, and we, I think, have sold out 7 tables, Evan was saying, for October. Everyone wants to play a vampire story in October.
Sure.
And I think there's some Cthulhu tables, some Pathfinder tables. So Ghost of the Salt Marsh, I believe there was some tables there. Dave, did you have a chance to walk around and see any of the other tables?
Not really. In the main hall, I saw some, but the private rooms that were up on the upper floors, I didn't really get a chance to because I was running games at the time, and I had to set up the day of, so I didn't really. Unfortunately, this year I didn't get. But the first year I did. I moved around and peeked in rooms on the breaks, and there's some really cool elaborate setups people have. TV monitors and actual physical boats, props. And, really gives you that immersive feeling, which is
everybody runs a table a little bit differently. And we'll jump back to the tables. I'll show my table setup. I'll show you a table. When the professor joins us, we'll show his table. Ghost of Saltmarsh, I did manage to walk around. There was one in the Roman room, and there was one, I think, in the there was a Greek room. So this gentleman who owned Brian Anthem Castle, he created this. He didn't know anything about castle building, but he had enough money to figure it out. He hired the best artisans. He studied architecture himself. And I guess in the 1920s and 30s, if you wanted to study different civilizations like Roman and Greece, you could actually fly over there, buy Roman coins, buy Greek coins, buy statues. And you probably could still buy some today, but I think the access to that type of archaeology and anthropology was much easier in the 1920s and 30s if you had that money. So one of the rooms they were playing in, he actually has Roman statues and Roman coins from like 200 AD around the time of Christ, and it was pretty incredible. And that was his hobby. I did have a chance to go into the basement this year, which, I mean, I don't know, so much of a basement is beautiful. They had like a marble tub down there, and they had tables set up, and people were running some games down there. And then on the very top of the tower, there's a glass enclosure, and that's another signature experience. Signature meaning the location in the castle. I really think all the game masters and dungeon masters created a VIP experience with the amount of miniatures they had, the amount of terrain they had, and having these TVs like Scott did, Tyranny of Dragons, where you can actually project the maps on it. So we have Ghost Saltmarsh, Curse of Strahd, Blood Hunters. Did you play that last year as the backup DM or
No,
something
I
else?
was on the Red Opera.
Okay, so I believe the gentleman who wrote maybe Blood Hunters, another one. It's a role-playing game for use with D&D 5e or 5.5.
Mm.
Can you tell me about your opera experience? How was it playing that game? What did you play, and then how was the flow of that?
That was good because it was a non published by D&D module, so I didn't know anything about it.
Oh, you didn't know anything about the world, and that
No.
was kind of like new for you. So was that a
Yeah.
fun experience to see it through those eyes?
Yeah, it was good going in there totally blind, didn't know what to expect. We all decided on warlocks because it was based around it was like a very heavy warlock run
Warlock
theme.
worlds, a
Yeah.
warlock world, right? Yeah, yeah.
It was the theme was so it fit really well, and it was good. It was run by the guy who wrote it, and he was errata. He was making some erratas for the final print, and his team put together like new edition basically. So he was kind of playtesting that, and so being that it's coming directly from him, it was very natural. The flow, he was passionate about it. He knew it well, so it was a good experience, and great people at the table too. Good. They really got into their characters and they
Nice.
played it out well.
So I believe I'm going to be running Curse of Strahd with you this year. So I'll be taking some of your notes because I ran Cthulhu. Again, Curse of Strahd is sold out. So why play? So from the TTRPG website, why play? The ultimate Gothic horror campaign. Face a legendary vampire in a land where hope is fleeting and the mists never leave you. You're drawn to Barovia, cursed realm, ruled by the ancient vampire Strahd von Zarovich, where villages decay, souls are trapped, and every path leads towards Castle Ravenloft. To survive, you must unravel the land secrets, gather allies, and confront Strahd himself. Did they confront Strahd himself?
They sure did. The last day, they also got allies. They got the ally the tarot card said, and they also went out of their way to get more allies. That was my opening scene for the players when they walked in, and to jump back, they did get allies. They did defeat Strahd in the last day in epic fashion. The paladin with the sun sword driving it into the heart of him and dusting him appropriately.
Nice.
It was an epic experience.
So tell me about your actual setup. You're in the cathedral. It looks like you brought a ton of props and terrain, and it looks like you have some medals there. And you told me those were handouts.
Yes.
If they completed the campaign.
Yeah, I gave it to them at the beginning because I didn't want to forget. Because sometimes the last day, you're trying to really get everything done. But I picked them up at Gen Con, little Raven like badge pins. I saw them. I wanted to get something for the players, being that it was the first time running it there. So I wanted a little thank you for coming in there. And it is a signature room and an experience. So I picked those up. Everyone got those. I made custom initiative trackers with their class symbol and their character names on it. So
those came out nice. So let me ask you, I need to get those initiative trackers also. We use them in our own game. They're just plastic clips that go over the screen, but you did some graphics on it. Where do you get those? Is that for D&D, or is that something you found for something else? They look like plastic clips.
I actually found it on Amazon, so it just goes right over the GM screen. It's double-sided, so I had them write their initiative on both sides, so I can see it and they can see it. Helps me keep track of everything. Picked up a map from an Etsy shop, so it has the lands of Barovia, and I would lay that down on the table, and I had a raven made of like some stone that I picked up at a horror con, and I basically used that to determine where they were on the map, and I moved it around so they knew their exact location. And I tried to make the room feel appropriate. I had little candles, battery operated candles. You can't have an open flame, but I had
it is
candles
an actual work. It actually is a working museum,
Yeah.
and they were very strict about you only can eat in certain areas. You don't want to spill coffee on 700-year-old rugs.
Yeah.
So let's take a step back. I noticed a Barovia map. I'm going to be running it myself. I just mentioned you in a green room that I'll have to get one. Although TTRPG, Evan and Chris do provide plenty of props as needed to have that immersive experience. So you said on this particular map, did you lay that on a table then?
Yeah, I had that just on display so when they walked in, but as they went exploring, I laid it on the actual table, and I had like a little model to be like, you're here right now, and You're traveling here, you stop here, something happens, and so on and whatnot. But I also loved it because it was big enough to cover like encounter maps underneath. So on lunch, like when lunch break, they would all leave the room. I'd set up the next encounter that they might deal with,
Yes.
lay the map over it, and then when it would happen, I'd just pull that map off, and they would see the encounter and be like, "Oh, wow, okay." So there wasn't any like, "Okay, time out. Let me build the terrain and delay it." And I had the Beetle and Grimm, a legendary edition, so it had some really high-end maps for encounter rooms. So I didn't really need to like put a lot of stuff on the table because the detail of the maps is really, really well.
Yes. I need to pick up the Beetle and Grimm pack just for the characters. So
Yeah.
Beetle and Grimm, and shout out to Gooey Cube. They make some awesome products too.
Yeah.
Check them out, gooeycube.com. Beetle and Grimm you can check out. You know, I think everybody knows where to find that. But I liked when I played Strahd with you for the first time, bringing out the pictures of the characters and the persona in that world. And on the back of it has all their stats and their character sheets. So sometimes we even got to play as those characters. But actually seeing a picture of them as you meet these different people, you put the picture out, you pull it back, put the picture out, pull it back. It's nice to have that option. To be able to see that.
It's a nice portrait, and it also gives you like, the GM side. It gives you sometimes some of their personality traits. So if like, this is something that really they won't break, or this is maybe a quote by them or something like that. So it's a nice little memory fresher if you draw a blank or something like that.
So this is the rest of your table here. You had the custom Ravenloft book. Let's go through it one more time. So I 3D printed this for you. I don't know if you used it or not. I thought even if you didn't, it's a nice little piece. That's actually a miniature version of Castle Ravenloft with the different levels. I was not able to magnetize it yet, but you could actually see underneath and the crypts and stuff. Did anybody take a look at it? Did it come up, or was it just off the side?
I put it on the table at one point and showed off like the different levels, like you're here, and it's very accurate to the map. So
it is.
When I had the maps out on the table, you could see like, oh yeah, that's the chapel and everything. So it's really cool.
I will look up the magnet size, and I'm going to print another one for myself, and maybe we can have a magnet gluing day, a magnet basing day. Also, you brought, and myself included, for my Cthulhu adventure, you brought a lot of miniatures. It takes a cast of characters to run the Curse of Strahd and really make it immersive environments. I mean, how many miniatures do you think you brought, Dave?
I don't know. I'd have to count them all, but a lot of undead, a lot of zombies, a lot of ghouls, a lot of vampire spawns, town guards, couple extra things that just in case they blowing through material, I need to throw an extra encounter in there or something. Yes. But luckily I didn't really need to add anything. They kind of follow their own path, which is according to the book. They dealt with things that I didn't think they would, but was still like appropriate to the storyline. So I didn't really need to edit anything, and it was excellent. It really was. But it's always nice to have the little minis, even like the little dead minis I used of the people that are dead. So like when they went into an area, I was like, oh yeah, these people died. And they're like, oh no. So it was always it was a good response, and it's nice to see. They all liked it. They all loved the immersiveness of it. It had music playing. I had there's a Patreon that I subscribe to that has motion images of like Vallaki or Castle Ravenloft or the towns that you approach in the woods, and it has some birds flying, so that they could truly see like, oh, that's what the city looks like, or that's what the
town. You had a secondary, I don't want to say a computer screen, it's like just an LED screen.
It's just a monitor.
You had a monitor in front of your game master's screen, and then that monitor was able to play different images. Let's see here. Okay, I think I can pull it up here. So we're looking at your tokens again. Just bear with me with this video. I see your forest map with the nice it's like mousepad material. I love it. But right here we're looking at that screen in the woods, and I really love the way he laid this out, because it looks like the roadway is actually going to the woods. If you're listening on a podcast and you're not actually see the visual image, we have a classic map laid out of a forest, and this is a grid map you could buy for use with Dungeons and Dragons. They have map books and these kind of like plastic materials. On top of that, you have 3D printed trees that we 3D printed. We have a store, Dark Alchemy. We have some licensed products. We have 3D print miniatures and terrain. And then on top of that, you actually have a neoprene forest mat that's going towards the screen. I'm not sure what company made that, but it goes right into your image. And when I played Curse of Strahd with you, I enjoyed the Blue Water Inn. We
Yeah.
saw that Blue Water Inn. It felt like a safe refuge. Blue water has a connotation of like, hey, maybe I'll be safe here. And then a little further into the venture, this is a spoiler alert. I should probably play my. If you haven't played the Curse of Strahd, it's gonna be loud. So stand by.
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. This is a spoiler alert.
Okay, so you can pause your ears for a minute. I'll only talk about this for a second. So the Blue Water Inn gets attacked and burned down, and you put up an image of the Blue Water Inn burning. I was like, darn it. I really did not want that place to burn out. I like that.
Now that doesn't always happen. That was just your campaign, but they did it. The Patreon had a burning blue water, and I was like, maybe I'll do that. And things just kind of worked out that way.
Well, Dave, I have to say, I feel like, when I play games with you, a lot of buildings burn down. I don't know if that's
you guys are pretty chaotic. Okay,
maybe our group, or I think I need to take some more water spells, control water, or is there a rain spell where just a rain cloud appears? We need to make that. I want to work on that spell.
Yeah, it'd be a druid probably.
Oh yeah, maybe it's a druid spell. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I love that screen. So I might have to basically just mirror match that, copy it. Was that hooked to your iPad or your laptop?
My laptop.
Okay, so it's almost in a modern day that we live in. It's almost necessary to have a laptop in order to run some of these games. So dancers up. Let me add that to the stage and pause that. This is Call of Cthulhu. I got to run horror on the Orient Express. Fortunately, I could railroad my people because they were literally on a railroad, so I could push them in the right direction. They did skip one or two things, and balancing wise, I was able to add a scene when they skipped a scene. So I was surprised. I think I give my players too much information where I said, beware of the asylums in Paris. Trying to encourage them to go to the asylum to do a little research.
Mm-hmm.
And the one guy took a hold of that thought, and he avoided the asylum at all costs. He was horrified his character was going to end up in a Parisian asylum forever. So I had to add a scene, which actually worked out because the scene I added was suggested by my fellow Call of Cthulhu keepers, and the scene was really cool. It was a trial in the Dreamlands, and I got to state my case as the judge, and they each got to state their case as the defendants. And they really enjoyed that scene. I didn't realize how cool it was. Have you ever come across a scene where you had to pull out or put in and you really were like very happy it went in, or very sad that you skipped the scene or something like that?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. It's happened plenty of times, especially with you guys in my home group.
Oh my God. I know sometimes you wait a year to have a payoff. It's like, I made the story a year ago and it's happening today. And like you pull it out and you have a whole 20-page backstory. And you said that, wow, I thought that was going to happen sooner.
Yeah. They were interested in one particular murder mystery that was happening. But they felt like more pressing matters, so they avoided it, so that like they never like followed up on that. So that was like, it wasn't like imperative to the story, so it was kind of like a side thing. I was like, oh, all right, it is what it is. I try to link them to it, but they didn't bite the bait, so it is what it is. But they also pursued things that, and tried to recruit people that normally are unrecruitable or unredeemable. But if the players want it, you got to give them what they want, and they earned it. They really RP'd it and try to talk this person out of their wicked ways, and you got to let them pay it off. I mean, they rolled really well. They explained their case well, and you got to give them what they want.
You can find tabletop rpgcastle.com. That's www.tabletop-rpginacastle.com, and they're going to list all the adventures. October is sold out. If you get in for the winter, January 12th or January 22nd, I think it is, it's in a manor house. Mention Dave, Roy, or Scott, or Dark Alchemy, and tell Evan or Chris, hey, the guys from Dark Alchemy recommended this. I listened to their podcast or the YouTube video, and I think it's something I want to experience. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, hotel room, and 24 to 30 hours of immersive gaming. I would say Iron Man conditions. My brain was fried at the end of running it. I always enjoy the adventure, but man, it is a lot to keep that focus. How much coffee did you drink, Dave?
Not enough because I drink a lot of coffee normally.
Never enough.
And being that I couldn't have coffee in my room, I had to. I
Shout,
didn't have my thermos, so.
shout out to the cup. You got me a while ago. Warning, unsupervised wizard. Still my favorite cup of all time. I appreciate that. It's nice.
Yes.
So yeah, you can find tabletop RPG in castle.com. Tell them Roy, Scott, or David sent you, the boys from Dark Alchemy. So yeah, going back to my table here, Dave. I had a map too. I'm a fan of maps. I also a fan of props. I 3D printed this nice little Orient Express train, which I painted, and I have traveling across Europe. You know, I didn't even think last time I was doing a red line, and I did the Indiana Jones themes, dun 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 dun, and I keep forgetting. Second time I forgot my acrylic overlay that was right on. I keep forgetting. I bought it. I haven't forgot it. So anyway, I started moving the train around the map every time they went to a station, and they really love that. I think I'm going to make the train a little bit smaller to fit on a map more. I had
there you go.
The thought of that. I had a train whistle. I don't know if you didn't hear me from the cathedral, but I think everybody else heard me. I would go toot toot, all aboard, and then I would actually punch the tickets. It is so enlightening and so fun to see 50-year-old grown men say to me, Roy, don't forget to toot the horn and punch my ticket. I really want to experience what it's like to be on Orient Express. So click. I punched those tickets, and I did move around the map. On the table, I also printed out this prop. This blue book was very immersive. It actually shows every city with the hotels and the locations as you travel across Europe on the Orient Express. So I'd have them refer to this book, and to have a hands-on prop to be able to look stuff up. I really think they enjoyed. I feel like we printed the Tome of Strahd for you.
Yes.
And that was a prop. Now, explain the Tome of Strahd in the game. This, again, everybody listening, this is a spoiler alert. If you haven't played the Curse of Strahd yet, maybe, this might affect your decision to keep listening. I hope you do, but I don't want to ruin the game. But take a minute to explain how they felt about that prop, and why the Tome of Strahd is important in your game.
Yeah, the prop I got off of Etsy. Someone made it. Third party. It's a little bit different than the actual Tome of Strahd. It has some different images and a different, really brief summary, but for the most part, it's Todd's diary. Strahd's diary.
Yeah, Todd. The Curse of Todd.
It's and it talks about basically his history and how he became who he is, and it could give you, if you study it for 48 hours, it could give you advantage on charisma checks to try to persuade any of his followers.
Really? See, I haven't gotten that far into adventure. I didn't know that.
That was something. I don't know if that's canon, but I added that. So if you
like
study
that,
it, it gives you a little bit of advantage.
Cthulhu has a lot of books too, and they let you get Cthulhu Mythos, which is a skill. That's the only way you can get it, is by fighting Mythos monsters and by finding these books. And I try to add spells in it, so I made some books for them. But I feel like having that hands-on book and having a book actually be able to do something. So well, go ahead with the Tome of Strahd. So they were able to find it, and when you did the hands out, did they feel nice that they were able to hold something during the game?
Yeah, they all, instead of handing out one thing that only one person could read, and you have to wait for them to elaborate. I had enough copies for everyone at the table, so they could all read it at their own pace, which it's a nice little touch. I tried to do that for all the items. I had the amulet of Ravenkind. I had the physical prop for that. So
yes,
could wear it while we're at the table. The only thing I don't have is a sun sword. I'll have to work on 3D printing that for the future.
We could probably 3D print it. I'm not sure.
I've seen a few files out there. We'll find it.
Yeah, that'd be fun to be able to hand him a sun sword. So yeah, I ran Orient Express. This should take a year. This should take a year. There must be 40 chapters in Orient Express. I picked the 8 ones the way they had to find the pieces of this artifact. They have to cast a spell. I always like the plot twist at the end. I've run this 3 times, and twice at the end, when without giving too much away for people who haven't played Orient Express, there's a magical artifact, and you're given a choice. Are you going to save the world, or are you going to kind of jump into the artifact and destroy the world? And I create the ceremony where there's a circle of 3, and each have to invest a magical power into it. And they can use magic points, but sometimes they'll fail a certain check. And I say, well, you know what? You can't use the magic points now because you failed the check. Would you like to use some hit points? Now, this is not D&D where, take 20, 30, 40 hit points. Whatever. They have 10, 11, 12 hit points. The entire campaign. One guy had 5 hit points. He was 80 years old, had a movement of 2, and he had 5 hit points the entire game. So I say, hey, you can do 5 hit points. He's like, I only have 5. I'm like, well, it's not my problem. That's your problem. And so he did sacrifice himself. And then I had 2 guys fighting it out. And it came down to where one guy had 1 hit point, one guy had like 2 hit points. But they're both in a spell still. So I let them roll off. And I say to them, whoever, straight roll, percentage dice. Best roll wins. So one guy won. And I said the other guy dies. Best roll wins, other guy's dead. So they both say, no, we're both in. We're both in. So the one guy, he wins. He goes, I saved the world. So I turn to the other guy. I say, as you're dying, you're laying on the floor. They're looking up at this magical artifact. You know, I'm just curious. What is your last thought? Would you have saved the world, or would you have become the Avatar and gone into it? And twice, the guy who lost the role says, no, I was destroying the world. And I'm like, and it caught me by surprise. And they both like deceived me, the game master. They deceived Roy. I'm like, really? He's like, oh, absolutely. I was set. I was dead set. I was taking over. And we always had that reluctant hero save the world. So I really enjoyed that character development and that level of character storyline and arc. Now, I did have some deaths along the way. I had some insanities. These 2 particular characters did manage to make it to the end. Oh, we got my buddy John's Longbox. John's Longbox. Hello, John. I hope you're having a great night.
Oh, yes.
John,
check him out.
Yeah, check him out. Go ahead, Dave.
Yeah, check him out on YouTube. He discussed comics, some of the Golden Age, Silver Age, some of the best. He does hero mashup. Who's the better hero? Who would win in a fight? He interviews some fantastic artists and comic book and upcoming comic book writers and illustrators. And he's got a great YouTube page.
Yes, he does. So thank you for joining us, John. We're just talking about running TTRPG in a castle. I ran horror on the Orient Express. Dave ran the Curse of Strahd. And I'm going to bring us back to John says, thank you for that shout out. I'm going to bring us back to the screen share of the Tabletop in a Castle main page just to take another look at that. So I'm running Curse of Strahd. Night Hunters is being run, I believe, in January 10th. Night Hunters by Kobold Press. This is another gothic horror, monster hunting, and survival into the unknown. And I guess I'm sensing a little bit of a theme here. It is Halloween, and people do want to have that gothic thing. So Night Hunters, in a world where darkness walks openly, you are not heroes. You are hunters. Track vampires through shadowed courts, face werewolves in the wild, and uncover conspiracies older than the kingdoms. Every hunt carries a risk. Every truth has a cost. And sometimes the monster you seek is the one staring back at you. Dave, does Strahd have vampires?
Oh, yeah.
Does Strahd have werewolves?
Yep.
Does Strahd have shadowed courts?
No.
Conspiracies older than time?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, but maybe the Night Hunter is a little bit more powerful than the characters who end up in Barovia because they kind of get pulled in.
Yeah, I'm actually curious about that one. I'll have to read up on that one.
That looks like a good one. Kobold Press.
And then I believe Scott is running Icewind Dale in October.
Yeah, the Rim of the Frost Maiden. Why play? Isolation, paranoia, creeping cosmic horror in a land of the endless winter. Creeping cosmic horror. You know, I don't think I've read The Rim of the Frost Maiden. I am a huge fan of the Icewind Dale series. I'm a huge fan of R.A. Salvatore, who is now back in Dungeons and Dragons as one of the icons of the realm, along with Tracy and Margaret Hickman, right? Is that it? And that guy, Joe M. From Magic Mike and some other famous stuff. I think not Buffy the Vampire Slayer. What's the other one? True Blood. Yeah. He is now running the creative part of it, and he's doing a good job. Yeah. Do you know about the Cosmic Horror? Do you know anything about the Icewind Dale book? Have you read it?
Not entirely. I know a lot of the themes. I know some of the like the basics of the beginning, but I've never really finished reading it all.
Okay. So, Icewind Dale, in the frozen region of the Icewind Dale, the sun no longer rises. As fear spreads among isolated towns, strange events and ancient forces begin to surface beneath the ice. You must uncover the truth behind the endless night before the cold consumes everything. Keeping with our theme for, this is actually going to be January. I did say I did say October, but October is sold out. And
Yeah.
some of these are being played. So
Sure.
Icewind Dale is being played in October. But here's one, Dave. Vecna, The Eve of Ruin, a high-level adventure. Stop a god of secrets before reality itself unravels. Levels 10 to 20. How do you think you would run this campaign, levels 10 to 20?
Heavily edited, only because much like the campaign that you ran, you have to acquire certain items to
really
open up basically or not open up, but to stop him. And you have to basically travel the multiverses and enter into different areas and acquire these artifacts to complete the item. And it's a lot to do in a weekend, so you'd probably have to make the item a little smaller to complete.
Yes,
instead of
to fit in that 30-hour
6
period.
or whatever, 6 or 8 parts, maybe make it 3 or 4. But yeah, I mean, it's got a lot of potential. There'll be obviously things you got to edit down, but it is high level. You're fighting Vecna. Everyone knows Vecna. Vecna is big these days. But even if you're not a D&D fan, you've heard of it through Stranger Things or just old books like that. So you would it'd be appealing to someone who would like to defeat Vecna.
I think that there should be a caveat to when you sign up for this. You should have some experience playing D&D. Running a level 17 to 20 character has a lot of little idiosyncrasies. Even in 5th edition, you have a lot of special abilities and stuff. Knowing your skills, it could really slow the game down to the point of being a challenge. Your levels was 3, 5, 8. Is that correct?
Yeah.
So I think that's a good area to play. That's a good number of levels to play. I know Scott, when he played, he went up a little bit higher. I'm not sure what level he went to.
I think he went to 17.
17. So yeah, so those guys have a challenge. I saw his crew basically sitting around the hotel table at night, studying, like they were studying for finals.
Yeah, it did look like that.
Kind of figuring out, like,
well,
what's the next thing
they were all new. I mean, they all like.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
They're all first ed guys, and they never played anything new. So it was a big transition for
first
them.
ed guys. Yeah, transition.
But I mean, if you're up for it and you're confident in your ability, it's not impossible. It can be done. It's definitely a little more challenging, especially if you're new. I'd recommend one of the games that start off at a lower level, get a little better feel for it. It could be a little bit biting off more than you could chew if you do some of the higher end stuff, but not impossible.
Yeah.
Especially everyone's really helpful, and players at the table.
No, I agree. Everybody, I had a bunch of gentlemen at my table. They were good when I killed their characters, and people weren't saying they were nice about it. They were like, I'm playing Cthulhu. I signed up for this. So if you're playing a high level campaign, you signed up for that.
Yeah.
So Vecna, The Eve of Ruin, I believe you have the big box set. We're going to be transitioning to that, but we haven't played it, so I'm excited to find out about it. But what is the story of this? It's the Lich God. So it's the Lich God Vecna is executing his plan that spans worlds and threatens existence itself. You'll travel across iconic locations, uncover hidden knowledge, and race against time to stop villains who see everything, and whose plan is already in motion. I feel like you have to run this the same way as Orient Express and Tyranny of Dragons, where you basically, pick those iconic locations, you get to those locations, and in between, you tell a story. You say, you've traveled for months. It is now the dead of winter, and you find yourself at Vecna's castle, the underworld, wherever you happen to be.
Yeah, that one's a little easier, I think, to run because it is more like, the world's ending, so you don't really have time to let's take a few months off and craft stuff. It's like, well, the world's ending.
So let me interrupt that, Dave. Bloody Sword Vids, who is a longtime follower of us, and I do appreciate that. He always comes at us with a good question. He says, you'll answer this first, Dave, then I'll answer it.
Sure.
How do you keep players from going on tangents when you're trying to complete an adventure in a weekend that should take a year? That's an excellent question. And Bloody Sword Vids 4463, thank you for that question, and a shout out to you.
Well, session 0 helps big time on that. You kind of reinforce the idea, hey, this is a weekend, we want to give everyone the opportunity to shine, but let's stay focused, but at the same time, if the players find something that they're really pulling on, or a character or lead, or even a side thing, you kind of you got to be able to shift a little bit. Also, if you really like, I want them to stay focused, you don't add too much. You cut out that stuff like the side event that happens that might lead to 3 or 4 encounters. You kind of go, okay, yeah, that's not helping the main plot. Curse of Strahd has a lot of side things. You can go,
Oh,
the Blue Water Inn, who needs wine, and then now you're off on a side thing.
well, that side adventure, the Wizards of Wine,
Yeah.
it's an awesome background story.
Sure.
It was one of my favorite parts of it. I really enjoyed, without giving spoilers away, I really enjoyed the gist of the mission. And you had laid out an incredible map of the winery with warlock terrain and a combination of terrain. So I enjoyed that. But you don't need to do it.
Yeah. Unless that's like something you as a GM are like, no, I really like this scene, and it's gonna, maybe there's an ally there that you want them to have because of backstory for players. Then you go, yeah, okay, I'm gonna add that in. I mean, you have time to prep, so that is the key. And then once you do the session 0 and you find out, oh, look, this guy's a warlock, and maybe he has a hag as a patron. Okay, well, then I'm going to go to the bone grinder and introduce the other hags, and maybe one of them is the patron or knows the patron.
Okay.
So you gotta, kind of feel what the players are doing. If they're like, they just want to cleanse the land of undead, well, cool. You focus on that. Excuse me.
Yep.
But yeah, it's not just like, oh, this is the answer, but definitely not overloading them with too much so that they don't go like, geez, where do I go? But give them enough that it feels like they have agency. So
yes,
you want to give them a little bit, where some campaigns like the Orient Express or Vecna is very like, you're on a train. There's no stopping. You kind of have to follow the story. Vecna is kind of like the same thing. So it makes it a little easier, where it's like you find this item and that item tells you where to go to the next item. So that makes it a little easier on your end for running. So it depends on the module. There's a lot of variables, but I would say just not giving them too much where they end up like, do we do that? Do we do that? Do we do that? And they don't get anything done.
I like that. So for me, this question is only valid for us because we're running in a short time span. Although I have run for birthday parties and one-shots like yourself for different events, the tangent here could be huge. You could go on an hour tangent. So for the Orient, I'll answer for the Orient Express. I'm on a railroad. I'm going in one direction. Somebody wants to go on a tangent. The first thing I do on Orient Express, I throw cultists with knives at them. Cultists come bursting in, and then they're like, "Uh-oh, we got to move this cultist with knives." And the second thing I do, which was really, really fun, again, another spoiler alert for Orient Express. Orient Express, like Strahd, is a vampire story. There's a vampire in it. And at one point, my players realize there's a vampire. They see some dirt on the floor. They're lugging around a coffin with the parts of the magical artifact in it. And they think that's a good way to hide it, right? Nobody's really questioning it. And then they go into the storage area like, oh, there's another coffin there. And like, uh-oh. And then like things start to click, put together. And now they just start discussing, what do we do? I think it's a vampire. I think you're right. They're talking. And this is a time tangent. They're talking. And I'm like, I need to move the story along. So another keeper, Ashley May also, she recommended this, and Tim Wood, shout out to him. They talked about timers. We have these little egg timers. So they had let me borrow some. And I put down a timer. Boom. The sun's going down.
There you go.
2 minutes. And God, that plan came together, Dave. They, in 2 minutes, they're like, okay, you stack up on a coffin. I got garlic. I have a steak. I put the shotgun to his head. I'm going to light a Molotov cocktail. You're going to open it. And like, by the time that last grain came down, my coffin opens and roll for initiative.
Yeah.
And it was good.
That's a good idea.
A fun part of that one was the vampire went first. And he turns to the one guy with the shotgun and goes, shoot him. And then the fight started. And it was hysterical. Hysterical. But that time pressure of that little stupid egg timer really move the story forward. So shout out to Bloody Sword, and that's a great question. Out of the Abyss. Why to play? A survival horror journey through the madness of the Underdark. Captured by dark elves in a prison deep underground, you must escape into the Underdark, a hostile world filled with monsters, madness, and demon lords unleashed upon reality. Every step is a fight for survival and sanity. So I ran out of the abyss. The dead professor and I were taking turns running Dungeons and Dragons. I'm a game master. He's a game master. We switch off. I take over and I throw my players into the Underdark, which cannot be teleported out. And I forgot to figure out a way where he could take over and do another adventure because I have the Out of the Abyss book. I'm going to run the entire Out of the Abyss. And I ran that frigging story for like 8 months. So... Yeah.
I might be running that for my other.
The dead professor said turns. Yeah, we did not take turns. Thank you, Professor. I hope you can jump on a little bit. We're still talking here. So I'm thinking, how would I run this in a weekend? Out of the Abyss is big on locations. How other places are big on artifacts and on finding things. This is go to locations and recruit allies. And the end adventure, the way I put it was, I actually had a giant map of the final battle area. And I had the allies that they were able to find kind of on the map as miniature armies. And I turned basically an adventure where the adventurers are fighting, one monster into a giant tactical map. And the players loved it. And I think this is a great adventure. But again, I think you need to pick a couple of locations and have them go to those locations, kind of solve the story, and then fight the big bad at the end. Descent into Avernus. Have you run this one? Have you read this one, Dave?
I've run parts of it. I've borrowed from other campaigns. I've read it.
Oh, did we fight part of that? I feel like.
I mean, I only introduced characters from it.
Okay.
But not any actual scenes.
Okay.
Avernus is pretty universal. Can kind of fit into any campaign if you go to hell, the 9 hells. It's another one of those where it's like, talk to this guy to get something, and he's like, I'll give you that if you go do me a favor. Then you go find that item, and the guy's like, I'll help you if you can do this. And then by the time you finish the last thing, who finishes the first thing, and yada yada. It's a good one though. It's a good story, and it's pretty deadly because you're in the 9 hells, so it's terrifying. It's got a lot to offer. I like it.
Why play Infernal Wars, Devils, and Survival in the first layer of hell? Avernus being the first layer of hell. I don't know if there's books for the 8 layers. Maybe there is, maybe there's not. There's definitely some lore on it in the big, gigantic world of Dungeons and Dragons. When a holy city is dragged into Avernus, the first layer of the 9 hells, you must follow it into the wasteland of blood, war battlefields, infernal war machines, and dangerous bargains. Every deal has a cost, and your soul may be the price. I don't think I want you to run this, Dave. You keep giving me crazy deals, apprentices, scrolls, offerings of power, which usually turn bad. So let's move right along to the last one that was running 2 tables at TTRPG in a castle, Ghost of the Salt Marsh. Why play? Haunted houses, ghost ships, and secrets beneath the waves. So let me continue to read this for a sec, Dave. Then I want to pick your brain on it. What begins as a haunted mansion on the coast quickly expands into a series of maritime mysteries, smugglers, sea monsters, and cursed vessels. Each adventure builds a large story filled with danger and intrigue. So I did start reading this book for prep.
Yeah.
And I found that there wasn't as many pirate ships and pirate battles as I would have liked. And the player, the game master I talked to, I forget his name, he was running in the basement. He rewrote 80% of this to include ship combat because it does, the rule book itself does include ship combat, but it doesn't come up. You're in a salt marsh. It's not Ghost of the High Sea. It's a salt marsh, which is like a piece of land. So, John's saying something. Who hates bards? Me. Why do you hate bards, John? That's very nice. And Scott saying, I suck a bone every day. I assume he means all my characters who take the deal. So what do you think of Salt Marsh? Would you change it? Have you read it?
I have read it. I would change it to add a sea battle because I feel like if you've never played it, but you've seen it, you probably expect there to be some piracy, some boats at sea, some boarding of a boat or taking over a boat. So I'd want to give that to the players. I do think though it is good for a weekend. There's there is a story with a bunch of side missions in between. You cut out all the side missions and you have a full story there, which I think is pretty good. It has a good dungeon crawl in it. It has some tough battles as well.
Okay.
And if you could get an actual ship-on-ship battle, I think everyone would be happy.
I would add that in too. I do like the end of the book has a good monster list of different type of undead affected by the salt marsh and pirates and stuff.
Yeah, there's a baby kraken. There's a big kraken. Some good stuff.
John is asking a question. That's another excellent question. I like my fellow nerds and gamers because they actually are insightful with the questions that they think of. Is there a good source book for army battles? I had a second edition book or third edition. It was the D&D battle box, and it had like these little plastic things like you found. No, sorry, little cardboard tokens like you find in Car Wars to lay out a battle. But yeah, that's a good question, Dave. If I want to have just a big army battle, have we come across source books for that? Are you going to find me one?
I can't remember the company who did it, but I think it was the same who did Followers and Strongholds. I think they did something similar for armies as well.
Okay,
we interviewed a guy who did who made a Untold Fate, which is basically your soldiers in an army, and I believe in that there's also rules and suggestions for how to run such an event.
You can go back on our YouTube channel and find the Untold Fate interview. His books are still available. He had a Kickstarter a while back, I believe.
Yeah. But it's a lot of third-party people seem to have mastered a lot of that. Nothing's coming to mind of anything new from the 5e, 5.5 that has such rules.
There's so much homebrew out there. You'll be able to find if you want. I had fun kind of making the Out of the Abyss one where they had the army. So we found some frost giants, or not frost giants, stone giants. And let me tell you the quick story of General Gabagoo. So one of my favorite things is artwork of gelatinous cubes. I just love the gelatinous cubes artwork, the gooey cubes. They wear the shirts with all the cubes on it, the thing of the floating skull in it and all the coins. So Jubilex, the god of oozes and slimes, is in the Underdark, and he gives some sentience. I'm not sure if it was in a book or not. I made it up. I feel like there was a clue towards it, but I kind of ran with it. He gives sentience to a gelatinous cube named Gabagoo. And inside is a skeleton of like a dark elf, and it's all armor. And he's like, "Hi, guys. Oh, don't be afraid of me. I won't eat you. I want to be an adventurer too." And he tells him kind of what's going on in the area, and he actually spits out some coins and a magic item. He's like, "Can I join your group?" And then one of the characters, one of the PCs says, "Yeah, Gabagoo, why don't you just follow us? Bring whatever you can, and we'll meet you here." Okay, guys. So then in the Underdark for so long, and literally time jump 6 months later, they have the armies assembled. And just as the armies assemble, slithering up the hill is General Gabagoo with that same suit of dark elf armor. "Hi guys, I made it." And there's like 100 cubes behind him. And they all start sliming down the hill towards the
at a very slow pace.
At a very slow. I think I had them turn into balls and they rolled. I'm not sure if that is a thing that can happen, but I'm the game master.
Sure.
It was the rule of cool, and I did like it. So, and every once in a while, somebody plays like, "Hey, remember General Gabagoo? He really came through." So,
yeah.
Anything else to add, Dave? I guess, the professor ended up being a little busy tonight. We will rejoin the professor with his story of the Tyranny of Dragons. Sure. And I'll really try to pull up more of the photos we took, because he had an amazing table set up. Spoiler alert on that. You fight Tiamat, but Scott would really, with the newer players, he had some alternative endings, and every alternative ending he's done, I think he's run that twice, the players really enjoy it. So it's about giving the story and the closure to the players, and they were very happy with it, even if you don't fight Tiamat, because Tiamat could be a party wipe if you're not a tight-knit group that knows what they're doing.
Yeah. I was lucky because I had a nice change of pace. I had 3 women at my table, which I don't normally get to play with women just because of where we are and who I know, I guess. So it was a nice change in dynamics. And it was a real pleasure. And I would love to have more women at the table. I feel like they definitely bring a different perspective, and they're a little more into, well, at least my group in particular, we're more into the role playing, and they really you get good emotion out of it. Where I've had some guys just want to fight stuff. You know what I mean? So it was a real pleasure. I love that. I got to play with some last time as well, and it always changes the feel at the table in a good way. And I would love to hopefully get a woman in my home table at one point in the future and change up the testosterone in our room.
I got you. Want some estrogen in the room? I do want to start filming some one shots as we expand on Long Island. We run games, one shots on Long Island. We have that available. You can check out our Instagram, Dark Alchemy. You can find us on Dark Alchemy. You can send me an email to darkalchemyltd@gmail.com if you want to run a game, or you can follow us on Instagram at Dark Alchemy Ltd. That's all one word, Dark Alchemy Ltd. You can find, even though Dave works with us, you can find himself, his own Instagram page at DM_Evanson. That's EVENSEN DM_Evanson. Did I just lose that? I clicked it again. Okay, it's on the screen. And links will be down below for that. So follow us, contact us if you want to run a game. But I do want to do some one shots, and I have enough people that I know. I think in our friend groups and my photography group that said, yeah, they will play some Dungeons and Dragons. So we could film it with their permission. So we could definitely make that happen and just have that dynamic. And I think that'd be kind of fun to run some of the one shots, especially maybe for Halloween or something like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I got a bunch I would like to run as well.
Cool. I had a heavier role play group, but I think Call of Cthulhu lends itself to role playing more.
Terrible song.
Yeah. So some people want to play D&D as a tactical mini adventure where you fight different monsters. I like both. So in your current campaign, you're doing a political campaign. So we have the politics involved. Last night, and we have to do a review of this too, we did a prison escape, which was more like a Shadowrun adventure. It was 3 hours of planning and then go. And I thought it was absolutely awesome. I thought we were going to be fighting for 2 sessions, but because we were patient and we planned, we kind of ended it that night. So these are just pictures. I hadn't seen this picture. These are just pictures from the website, tabletop RPG in a castle. So you can see this beautiful, beautiful castle we get to play in. 18 cables, 18 dungeon masters, 5 to 6 a player. Maxed out this time, I think at 80 players. Sold out for October. Buy your tickets for January 12th and 22nd. This is the courtyard with the fountain. You can sit outside and have your soda pop and your piece of pizza. These are some people just posing outside. This is the basement, Dave.
Mm-hmm.
So people are playing down here also. A little bit of a cool area. Here's a little view from the cathedral. This is the main hall where Scott was playing. I was by the golden doors. I believe we had Pathfinder on the left side and another D&D table on the left side. Miss Ashley May was up in the balcony with her Cthulhu adventure. We had another Pathfinder adventure on the other balcony. You were in the cathedral. Here is the dead professor himself, Scott, running Tyranny of Dragons with the awesome painted terrain by Bob the Goblin Alchemist. This is a view of the cathedral as the sun sets and it gets a little bit dark. We have all the lights. And this is the Cardwood Estate. So this is the Manor House. It holds less people, and we'll be playing in January then. Dave, I believe we have an open invite for the next 2 or 3 sessions. Will you be going in January?
If I'm needed, I will be there.
Awesome.
Yeah, so they run 2 in January, 1 in June, 1 in August, and October.
Well, I think this year they're going to have 5, so I think that's going to be the most.
Yeah.
So, definitely check out links down below. Thank you for joining us, Dave. Thank you for sharing your experience. Absolutely. And once again, Dark Alchemy Ltd @gmail.com or Dark Alchemy Ltd on Instagram. Dave is DM_Evanson, EVENSEN on Instagram. Follow us, contact us, follow us.
Yeah, feel free to reach out.
And look for our next stream intermittently, where I'll be talking to the dead professor about the Tyranny of Dragons. Have a good night. Good night, Mr. Evanson.
Good night there, Roy.